What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, what we're doing is we're taking the trunk lid, the stock trunk lid off, and putting on the carbon fiber trunk lid that I got around Christmas time. It's been a long time coming, but now the weather's finally good enough to do it, so let's get right to it. So, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use all of this stock equipment. We're just going to take the trunk off, put it on these. So the first step is going to be to pop all of these little clips around the interior lining of the old trunk lid so that we can put it all back on the carbon fiber one. So that's what we're going to start off with. So we got all of the little tabs popped off, and when you lift this down, you've got the housing for both of the inside the trunk tail lights and all the wiring for the latch and all that. So we just unhooked all of that and we just pulled it down through this hole. It was all coming through here. So what we're going to have to do now is loosen these, and we should be able to get the trunk off. So one thing we're going to have to do on this trunk lid is, I don't think they even finished this trunk lid when they manufactured it, because we have to cut out the latch hole, and they even have indentations where it should have been cut, but it wasn't. So we're going to have to cut into that, and we're probably going to use a Dremel, so that's probably the safest way to do it without cracking the carbon fiber. And we may have to drill some other holes as well for like the stoppers, and we can drill the holes for the rest of the lining if we want, but we're just going to start with this because this is the most immediate need. So while Brady's working on drilling that, I'm going to be removing the tail lights from the original trunk. Let me show you guys how they're held in here. So we've got that nut that holds the light on from inside, and then I think that's the only thing that holds this one on. So that's what we're gonna do. Got it. So now that the two tail lights are out, we need to get the locking mechanism out of the keyhole. So they're basically held on by two little screws right here and right here. So that's what we're going to do next. this trunk is taking a lot of drilling and a lot of extra work to trim things down to make stuff fit. Right now, what we're trying to do is fit the lock in here into this area where it's supposed to go, so that it's in the right spot on the trunk.
Is that any better?
It looks a little closer, I think. But yeah, this trunk doesn't have a lot of the holes cut, and they're not cut in the right shape. So we're having to do a lot of the hard work. So, an update on the trunk. We've got it sort of mounted on the car. We're just waiting on this. We couldn't get this last OEM bolt to go in here because I think the threads are too deep into the trunk lid. So we're gonna have to jerry-rig something.
God damn right there, buddy.
God damn right. Making custom bolts here. Perfect.
Boom! Boom! Yahoo! Years of practice.
This shit's moving on me.
Ow! Yowzers! That's hot!
Oh my god.
The whole fucking bolt went
The whole thing?
Nope. God damn, that thing's hot. Woo, woo, woo! Hot tamale, hot tamale. How to make custom bolts. This is how ARP makes their bolts. I'm scared to grab this thing. Yeah, it's hot.
Alright, it's a few days later. We did get the trunk lid on that night, but it took a long time. So like I said, it's a couple days later. I just figured I'd come out here to this nice area, which I hope you guys like, to do a little cinematic kind of reveal of the trunk lid for you guys. But let's just cut to that right now, and then I'll give you guys a little walk around of the trunk afterwards. Alrighty, well I hope you guys enjoyed that cinematic sequence, and I hope my cinematic videoing is getting better, but just to give you guys a little bit of a walk around of the trunk, it was a huge pain in the ass to put on, like way harder than I thought it was going to be. It's not really difficult work, but it's really tedious work getting everything to work right. So, for instance, a lot of the holes were not cut right or cut at all. So the hole, like for the keyhole right here, it wasn't big enough to fit this gasket in. So we had to bore it out a little bit just to get the gasket to sit right and not be all wrinkled up. Also, the holes for the reverse lights were not cut out right at all, so we had to Dremel. We had to spend like an hour or two Dremeling away at the inside of this so that the light would fit in right. The interior lining of the trunk lid, where all the wiring is hidden and where the toolkit goes, isn't on yet because none of the holes that you could attach that to were drilled. So we're gonna have to do that later on. One thing that I thought turned out really well was this trunk latch on here. Now, we used the original titanium silver trunk latch from the old trunk and put it on here, and actually I think it looks really good and kind of makes this feel like it's supposed to be on here. The fitment is not perfect, but it's pretty close. The gaps right here are a little bit bigger than I'd want them to be, but that's all right. They're pretty good, and it's watertight, like it's not gonna get leaky or anything. So my message to all the makers of these is to make them right and cut out all the holes and cut them out the right size, or make the trunks cheaper, because it's not worth all the work that we had to do. I think when all's said and done, we spent 8 hours putting this trunk lid on, so we worked from 2 in the afternoon to 10 at night. So all in all, I am super hyped on this trunk lid. It looks sick. It's just a little bit more work than I would want to do for the amount of money I paid. But that's okay, because it looks freaking awesome and everything works. The trunk latch works, the reverse lights still work, everything's good. And the fitment's pretty good too, and that didn't take very much effort. So I'm gonna leave you guys with just one last thing. I'm gonna put my Enjoy the Road sticker on my window. Let me know in the comments if this is something you'd want to be interested in for your cars, and I can maybe make some more. Make sure to like, leave comments, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. As always, enjoy the road.